All right, so go ahead. You should always have access to this. Shouldn't have to turn around. I think it's pretty acceptable. But don't forget, direct access to this is a great idea. If you've had some stuff re-imaged and things aren't in your browser anymore, I'm okay with that. I'll go ahead and dump this on 12 links real quick. So you know how Moodle is. It's all there. It's just sometimes it's slow. There's a direct link to this guy. It's much quicker. And I think for some of us, maybe if there are some hyperlinks, they move a little bit quicker from this document rather than the embedded version of Moodle. So real quick, if you have a piece of paper, I'll look at that at some point. I'll probably take a photo of it. If you have a PDF, raise your hand. Interesting. See if you can. How about you? Let's see if this works. Can you create a folder in our IBTL and call that one our PDF annotations? And then you see if you can actually put your PDF in there, both of them, once she creates that folder. I like all the delegation of power. It's good. Then everybody needs to open up that link right there. It's also on 12 links. Get the rubric. Everybody needs the rubric before anything. Even if you have a free pass, or even if you're the lucky one who gets to go, or lucky two people get to go, we change that. That'd be funny. Everybody needs that rubric. Yeah. So I think even though we could do this lots of ways, we'll go ahead and we'll grade this stuff in Evernote. So I've given you the link to the Evernote rubric. You can save that into your Evernote or just copy the stuff from the URL webpage that pops up. Create a new Evernote. Make sure your name's somewhere in the title. That'll change in a few minutes here when we determine who's going to be performing. Publish that Evernote and put it on that link right there, which is the C. So we have submit your stuff, which we're in the process of doing. If you have a piece of paper, I'll come by and look at that at some point in time. If you have a PDF for the two of you, you can put it in the folder that Shemitra just made. Everybody's going to get that Evernote individual oral commentary rubric. It's got all of it on there. So it's not like an abridged thing. It's got every single little descriptor of each of the criteria. Create a rubric, or I should say an Evernote. Put your name in there. Publish it, and on the C where it says submit link, and our group folder in the 365, there's a Word document. It looks something. Does it work or not work? Should work. Might look like this. I think it says 26th of August. IOC, everyone is grading. Once that's published, you have a URL for your Evernote. Highlight the little directions at the bottom. Highlight your name, obviously in the left-hand column. Using shortcut keys, hit Command-K, and just paste in that URL from the Evernote on your name. Black hole? Can't open this? What did you show me? Oh, you just show me some random stuff? That makes no sense. Evernote doesn't work.
It keeps crashing my
Click do not publish that way. Yeah, so if we don't remember how to publish, no big deal. When you create, you can copy all that stuff. Is that yours or mine? You can copy all the text from the Evernote, or you can click on the button that says Save in Evernote.
Oh, I see it.
Oh, is that good? Good.
What are you doing in there? Do you have a PDF? Yeah. What do you mean you can't open Evernote?
The app crashes and not like rubric thing,
How did you get that?
it's not loading.
No photos. This?
Don't turn on extra.
One more time. So I can go to 12. Okay. See if I can do it over here. So in 12 links, there's something that says IOC rubric. Or I can click on the link right there from our daily objectives. Big white page. So IOC assessment criteria. I can open this guy up. If I'm logged into Evernote, there's a little function. You don't have to be necessarily. There's a little function that says save in Evernote. And I can save this into my Evernote, which is my desktop, my actual application on my computer. Everybody has that. Alternatively, I could just copy in all of this stuff, open a new Evernote, and paste it in there. That might be quicker. So that way I don't have to log into the online version of Evernote. This is never opening for you. Who is at that stage? It doesn't open. It will. I could just highlight all this stuff here and open a new Evernote and copy and paste. And it should copy and paste 100%. Now, if I'm in Evernote, my actual application on my computer, it'll look something like this, which is on my computer and not on the internet. When you have an Evernote open, and the Evernote, there's a little button over here, this little arrow business. Sorry. It's at that weird stage of being 2% on one screen and doesn't want to stay in the other screen. That weird stage. Yeah. There's a little arrow, a blue arrow. I can click on this, and I can either just directly open up the internet, or I can just get the URL. This is what I want to highlight my name and paste on that Word document. So once I have that, and I'm in our group, I Be the Thug Life, which says 26th of August, 2015. I open that up, highlight my name, Command K, paste, done. Dude. Easy. Lots of steps, but not really. So now I'm in this guy. Phil's not here. I'll pretend I'm Phil. Phil isn't here, right?
We paste our link, right?
So instead of putting all, I don't want you to paste all that nasty link on there. I just want you to highlight your name, Command K, Command V, insert. And now we just see our names in blue, right? And if somebody wants to come by and look how Philip is grading this person here, we have Phil's grade for this person here. Let's see it one more time. Shouldn't have to, but I will. If I'm on 12 links, which is point in time I need to be, click on the one that says assessment criteria. The one that says today's date, IOC. Oh, like the literates. So I'm clicking on assessment criteria. That opens up to this guy right here, assessment criteria. This opens up to this online Evernote. I'm logged in. There's a button here that says save in Evernote. I can do that. If I don't want to log into Evernote online, which isn't such a big deal, I can just copy all this, open up an Evernote on my desktop application and paste it. Once I have something in my desktop application, it looks like this. This is the pasted version. You can publish Evernote, which we've done a million times, not a big deal. Copy URL, click on that, have a look. It says note URL copied. on our shared document in our group folder, which is called 2015 or 26th of August. Nice, Brian. Nice, Cohen. Nice, Shamisha. Everybody else needs to catch up. There's a link.
Yeah, it's actually, it's not.
She might have a different version. You certainly can. You can publish all those notes. They got about 80 seconds on this. So what we could do is, in the next 142 seconds, anybody who doesn't have their link up here now gets added to the special wheel. And we only pick those people. There's some incentive to hurry the hell up.
Yeah.
Hurry up!
And then what?
Yes. What do you mean you can't link it? Me do it won't publish?
There's no like reading stuff.
You publish. Yeah.
Where is it? No, not that. Copy public link.
And you.
It's here.
I know, I'm moving up. It's
Go
one of these.
click on share. Yes.
It's not as cool as an
I think you gotta wait for it to sync.
I had this conversation with somebody a while ago. And they showed it to me. I couldn't first and foremost.
You have to wait for it to sync.
This way.
Yeah, it's gonna take till tomorrow.
Just do something. Can you just do it for me?
I can't.
No, where you
Yes, go.
Yeah.
So sad when you're on like a wheel.
The different versions, for whatever reason, when they upgrade or even downgrade it, I never know. We're looking pretty good there. Wendy has issues, we know that.
I have issues.
No,
What do we do about that?
Sorry,
Break out the tissues, Megan has issues. Mari's not here, she's excused.
So hell's on your other.
Wow, this is like the least, these people are desperate. It's just sad, we've never had such truancy in this class ever.
Literally.
Lame!
Christina's all.
Talk trash about Chris. Look at the camera and be like, oh, Chris. We never liked her anyhow. She won't. Mari might watch it. We love you, Mari. You're awesome. So Hilly.
No, he did.
Margot's.
I'm so close.
Okay.
No, now it's frozen.
Now, this is what you need to do. Seriously, pay attention. Whoever this is, I'll be this person. They're going to come over here. When we say wheel, as soon as that wheel stops, you're over here in about 6 seconds. I'm going to have, I'm supposed to have it. You're going to hook up. Who has their notes digitally? All right. Added that we feel will make it more effective. Good. You need to give them a grade and take notes. And this is the difficult thing. Everybody needs to be thinking about a question. What question could, or it really needs to be two, what question or questions can you ask at the end for this person here based on what they say, which will hopefully allow them to go into greater detail about something which is going to essentially give them more points. So if they're going into like the speaker, but you feel that there's something that they didn't really get out, but you kind of know that they might know it, or you're hoping that they know it, that's why those questions are complicated. They can't be too obvious. They have to be in depth, but they have to be based on what they say. Sometimes with the poems, because people will go home and study the hell out of these things, I don't have a whole lot of good questions. Because 1 out of 20 of you will just do everything I can possibly think of with that poem. And it's like, so Carol Ann Duffy, I had that once last year. The question wasn't so good. Obviously that kid got a 7. So if I have nothing to ask you, it doesn't look good on me, but it just means you did exceptionally well with that text. Questions about this? Nice, Martin. Thanks. Learn. Are you ready? There was no audio. You saw the wheel, though, right? Did it not just land on Lauren? Lauren, shoot.
No.
But the wheel just went.
No.
Yes, it did. Did it not just go?
No.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
He's like an elected official. You gotta put that in. I mean, we trust Stanley with money, apparently. Isn't that's what that is, right? Treasurer? Oh, my bad. Oh, we trust Choi with money? That's okay.
Yeah.
You guys, your call. Let's find our wheel. Rubric, publish, submit link. Good. We might be doing 2 of these today. Okay, we got the setup. Advantageous. If you have a free pass, you don't have to tell us anything unless you've already made arrangements with somebody else. Just like on Survivor. If you've given them the immunity idol, they can pull it out the last second. If you're thinking, I'm going to go today, and your name pops up, and you're like, I don't want to go today, that's your right. God-given, we won, no, you're not all right.
That's what God is.
So it's completely your call. Or all 4 of our winners can combine their passes and skip the wheel and designate one of you. Especially someone who doesn't like to wear their shoes in class. We're too far away. Oh, that's right. You could have used it. Why didn't you use it a minute ago? Here we go.
Can I just use it and no, I
I'll give you a minute. Everybody can look at the stuff for 120 seconds. I mean, think about what the actual exam would be. You'd be annotating for 20 minutes, so it's not like we'd be doing all this other stuff and then be asked to perform. It's stressful and whatnot, but I'll give you a couple minutes to review your business and finish eating whatever that is, because that would be conducive to you.
like for today.
No, your homework is 20 minutes.
How long?
Need extra comment? 12 and a half with 2 minutes question at the end.
Grade 9 goes straight to Mercury. Not gonna say that. Can we do it for the next person too, so we can like mentally prepare?
Next person gets 60 seconds. Burns in charge of the stopwatch. Chris, you go and hook up there, will you? Just can pull mine out. You don't need the microphone. Just you can pull the dongle, the pigtail out of my computer. erasing the screen. First, we put count off. He's just gonna hit start when we say hit start.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Nice.
It just fell.
I think I'm like,
So go ahead and put Crystal's name on that document, which is your Evernote.
It doesn't show.
Crystal.
It
You
doesn't
probably have
show.
split screen. You do.
Like, oh, I got it. Is it this one?
So, but the split screen won't work for you reading your stuff. We don't want you to do this.
Wait, I can't even see it anymore.
Can you hit Command Spacebar?
Command spacebar
And then, and now hit System, SYS.
system.
Then go with your preferences. Open that one up. And then click on the one that says Display.
Display.
And then you'll have a thing that says mirrored image or not mirrored image. You want the one.
An arrangement.
I'm only seeing half of it now. Yeah, what's it say on your computer?
It says resolution brightness.
Should be one mirrored display.
That's it. Is that arrangement? Yeah. There we go. Mirror display.
So it might not be the greatest diameter or whatever you want to call that, or ratio. Does that work?
Rows.
So you're looking at that, right?
Mhm.
Cool. So everybody knows the title of your Evernote definitely has your name in it. You can probably go ahead and put Crystal's name in there as well. We'll look at this real quick while she's making some technological arrangements. Organization, does she state her name? She can go ahead and make a candidate number. It's nice to do that in terms of just getting into the habit protocol. We definitely want to hear that thesis, and that thesis needs to be proper commentary thesis, all 4 components. Does she use line reference? And today she probably won't, but if there's some, because it's not numbered, if she can try, that'd be fantastic. We're not going to take off for that. We'll be upset if you don't do that when you do have numbers. Can she place this extract in the context of the work as a whole? We haven't spoken much about, and William and I talked about this the other day, what is the original publication of this poem, and what did that anthology or collection really work with? A lot of our anthologies are just sort of professionally done by someone who's not the poet. That happens. Her stuff is premeditated, and she has a collection, and maybe there's sort of a theme within this collection. This is something we'll have to work out before January. But if you're going to give us anything about our pertinent author background information, are the things she's telling us about Carol Ann Duffy, biographically or personally or stylistically, are they relevant to this poem? Or are they just a bunch of stuff? Carol Ann Duffy was born, she was an only child. Are you ready?
So I just make up a candidate number.
You make it up. Or we can all say it together. We can all say it together. Yeah, we'll say it for you. When you say candidate number, we'll say your number because we all know it. You don't know yours?
No.
We know yours. All right, ready to grade. Fingers. Focus. Question. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. Hi, my name is Crystal Tan, and my candidate number is
7742336.
So today I will be doing a oral commentary on the poem "Hour," written by Carol Ann Duffy in the year 2005. It is a narrative poem dealing with the preciousness of time spent with a loved one. And originally, this poem is from a bigger collection titled Rapture with 62 pages of romantic poetry. Okay, so the basic breakdown of this poem is it describes the hours spent between the narrator and his or her lover, and throughout this poem, time is suggested as the enemy of love, and the poem hour is basically capturing and appreciating moments so that time sort of seems to stand still. And Carol Ann Duffy utilizes personification, simile, allusion, and metaphors in order to portray this hour spent between two lovers and how precious it is, and also how time itself can act as an obstacle for lovers. First off, the poem is written in the present tense. She uses this because it reflects her idea of time being important, and it shows that love is it revolves around enjoying things in the moment rather than the past or the future. Okay, so the poem is broken down into 3 stanzas with a half rhyming couplet at the end, not exactly, but okay, so in the first stanza, she starts it off with love's time's beggar. In here, we can see that she utilizes personification, where she gives love, she describes love as being a beggar, and this suggests that love is dependent on time. And another thing that this brings up is negative connotation with the word beggar, as a beggar is someone who begs for money or resources. Next off, in the second line, she then utilizes simile, where she says bright as a dropped coin. With this, she is comparing love to a coin that is being thrown away, and she is comparing how precious love is to how precious a coin would be if it was thrown away to a beggar. And this just further emphasizes her theme on how precious time spent between lovers really is. Following along in the third line, she states, we find an hour together, spent it not on flowers or wine, but the whole of the summer sky and a grass ditch. In here, Duffy utilizes Regency imagery. She describes romantic, stereotypical objects that are connected with dates or love. Here we can see that it seems as if she is rejecting traditional things such as flowers and wine.
Impossible. You gotta be typing.
So what she's doing here is she is rejecting traditional things to show that time is way more precious than anything that money can buy, such as these things. So continue on in the second stanza. She starts it off with for thousands of seconds. In here we can see that she really emphasizes her theme of how precious time is, because it shows that literally every second is counted during the time spent together between two lovers. She then continues this with a simile, your hair like treasure on the ground. This then also suggests how precious the relationship is, because she's saying it is like treasure on the ground. Next off, we can also see that she includes illusion in the second stanza, Midas light. Basically, this refers to a Greek mythology. King Midas is someone who has the ability to turn anything he touches with his hand into gold, and Duffy could be exploring the concept of wealth and happiness and comparing it to how it cannot be compared to how precious love is. But in here, we can also see that she includes negative connotation because it's sort of as if she is stating a message of having consequences of living a life like that. And if everything you touch is gold, then nothing would appear to be precious anymore because everything you touch turns to gold. Next off, she ends the second stanza with a metaphor, how she's it states here, we are millionaires backhanding the night. So basically it's just pushing time back, and it's basically saying that they wish they can push time back, but however, night is inevitable. So this could be symbolizing the end of the time that is spent between two lovers, that it's about to end. And it just she further comments on how time can be an obstacle for lovers, and how time spent with your love eventually always has to end at some point. So then, in the third stanza, we can see that she starts to cut off her sentences halfway, and this is called enjambment. Basically, what this does is it causes a break in the flow of poem, and she does this because it symbolizes the stopping or slowing of time, basically commenting upon how lovers are running out of time and that there's not much time left. In the last two sentences, she includes a single word sentence, now. Again, this just further emphasizes on time and how quickly it is over. Next off, she continues it with time hates love, wants love poor, but love spins gold, gold, gold from straw. We can see the repetition of the same idea from the first line about love's times beggar. We can basically what she's trying to comment upon is that love has the ability to create something special out of nothing, or nature, like stated earlier in the third stanza, second line of the third stanza, cuckoo spit. But in the last line of the poem, we can see that she also uses illusion, as it is a reference to Rumpelstiltskin with being able to spin gold from straw. And she repeats the word gold, gold, gold 3 times in the end, basically to comment upon how love is unstoppable, despite time being an enemy and obstacle for these two lovers. So, yeah. But in conclusion, Carol Ann Duffy utilizes several different literary devices such as personification, simile, illusion, metaphors in order to comment upon her bigger idea of how precious time is and how it can be an obstacle for a pair of lovers.
Okay. Have a look. A little short. Oh, no big deal. Keep going. So you're done. And I wouldn't be saying this right now. I would just go straight to the questions. But since it's all sort of formative and moving forward, I got some questions here. Who else has some questions? Probably not. If you do, raise your hand. You got one for her at the end, based on what she said? You want to give her one?
Like the question as in the questions you would ask.
Yeah, like the proper, all right, I need to help Crystal out real quick. What can I ask her? Sit in it. I think it'll be okay. See, listen, go ahead.
I think definitely incorporates that structure of the Shakespearean sonnet with the 14 lines and dividing couplet.
Oh, nice. Now, I did say a question that's going to help Crystal out at the end. It's a fantastic question, and it needs to be asked. That's the dilemma for somebody sitting over here. If she didn't bring it up, I'm not going to talk about it, because obviously she doesn't know the answer. Do you? And if she did, if she had some sort of inclination, she probably would have been like, he, or in this case, Duffy might be trying to. If you had some sort of educated based on reference to the text and what you know about that structure, you could have phrased it in a way that wouldn't have been a problem. If you're not 100% sure about what she's trying to do with that, and obviously this being one of the poems which is eligible for your commentary, you're going to know that ahead of time. If you're doing, your homework. It's a great question. You don't have to answer that. I'll give you an easier question. This is a build-up. So you state that a fundamental theme in this poem is this sort of preciousness of time and how time's more valuable than material aspects. How does this coincide with what you know about your poet, in this case Caroline Duffy, and maybe in other texts that you've dealt with? So something unquantifiable will be more important than things which are of a material value. Does that sound like your poet? Or is this divergent from other things she's done before?
I mean, the poet is a feminist writer, and I think that it could tie into how she's showing how women feel about a certain aspect in a relationship with someone.
Okay. So what would you say about the speaker in terms of this poem? From that perspective. Who is the speaker in this poem?
I would say it is a woman in a relationship with someone.
Okay. So is this poem different from other poems that we've dealt with, or would you say it sort of supports some other things which she's very consistent with?
I would say it. I think it's kind of divergent with some of her poems because most of her other poems are about allowing the audience to put their shoes into a group of people that don't really belong in society in a way, whereas this one is more something that a bigger audience can relate to. It's a more generic topic.
Work that angle some more. You're good with that. Not easy. So you've identified this reference to both King Midas as some sort of, you say, Greek mythology, and this reference to Rumpelstiltskin. What do you think why those two references in this poem, given the subject matter? is there some sort of underlying commentary that she's making? Why pair those things up with this romance and love and this preciousness? What do potentially King Midas and his story have in common with Rumpelstiltskin?
I mean, they both have to do with gold, which is an actual object that is high in value, whereas so she includes like this element of gold in it because she is trying to like compare. She's trying to like emphasize how time cannot be like, even though gold is really high in value, something as precious as time, like something like basically just gold cannot be compared to the preciousness of time, even though it is something that is worth a lot.
Okay. Didn't like those questions, did you? Sorry. All right. Now, at this point in time, you need to finish up all of this. Give her points, give her comments, and give her a total grade. I don't know. I mean, yeah, both those things have gold in them without a doubt. I think about all the other potential gajillion allusions to some other work which also has gold as a subject matter. Is it Rumpelstiltskin? Is that the one? Or is it?
Yeah.
What's gold in Rumpelstiltskin? The
king like kind of traps the main character.
Tower.
And saves her.
Like she says that she can
She lies about it.
And straw.
And then
It's a so we have a myth and then we have that fabled children's story, both of which you can turn something which is apparently worthless into something which is the most precious just by some simplistic act. So maybe there's some childlike naivete when it comes to romance, which I think maybe she's trying to get at with this poem. With the other bit, which maybe wasn't such a nice question, and I'm okay with what you said about the whole divergent. Who would have answered that question differently? Is this in line with other poems that we've read by her?
Yes.
Which one? Valentine. So she does have a romantic inclination, but it's not like face value. Maybe there's some snarky, ironic commentary going on about people's perceptions and reality and those sorts of things. I completely agree. The poem is set up to say that time doesn't work with love and all that. But there might be some more sardonic or caustic commentary, which is more like, why bother? Potentially there. So time is an issue, but maybe it's not time. Maybe it's the fact that we get so overwhelmed when almost too much something else is about to go. But that's what I was hoping you would get with that. But no one's going to knock you with the other one. You still identified aspects by saying it's not this and it is that. It's okay. Hopefully we don't repeat the same thing that we did in the commentary with the questions. Otherwise the question's poor. Or you said something that made me think you knew something else, but we just didn't work. So, all right, finish that up. She needs a proper score and she needs comments for all of that. Stated her name? Yes. Author background? A little bit, but it actually works with this. Thesis? Are we okay with her thesis? Can anybody read her thesis? What does it utilize?
Metaphor, simile.
Personification. How many times did she come back with personification in the actual commentary? 2 or 3? Metaphor. To portray our time spent between two lovers is precious. Time is an obstacle of love. Okay. Did you ever state why? It's exactly why time goes against love?
No.
We kind of did, but yeah, it could have been much more thorough. That's that thing. Do you understand everything? And there has to be some grayness with these poems. They're not just narratives. Poetry is overtly figurative in nature. So if it is coming out saying, time hates romance, okay, that's true. It says it right there. There's got to be some other statement about that. There's got to be some interpretation which is beyond what it verbatim says right there in the poem. Connotation, personification, illusion, symbolism, Jamit. Did you justify Jamit?
I just said,
It was there,
yeah.
which is better than not saying it was there. What she said is big. It's not the first time she's done. She'll do it as well with Anne Hathaway. This mock Shakespearean sonnet thing. It's not a proper sonnet, and there's a reason for that. And you should know it because it's a very easy way to justify it, and it works with her. Another thing you should have really dealt with was just those last two lines in terms of what they did and how they read,
Yeah.
because they're grammatically something weird's going on.
I forgot to.
They just read differently. And there's a lot you could say with that. Yay, Crystal! Woo! How are you with that?
I feel like I left out a bunch of stuff.
Why do you think you left it out? Was it there?
No, I didn't type it up. But I don't know what else, but
But you kind of knew it?
yeah.
So it's just an annotation issue?
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel? With the structure, did you feel like you were going down and mentioning things and you go back to things?
Not really.
Were you okay with your top to bottom? Doesn't have to be top to bottom, but it's a safe way to do it.
I feel like I didn't go back to like a bigger idea enough. I just stated what she did, but didn't really justify what a bigger overall.
Yep.
Effect on it.
Okay. Not bad. Thanks.
That's so hard.
That was nerve-wracking.
What do you think?
Was it annoying to do that in front of everybody? Probably. Thank you. We got time for one more. Burn. Can you, no, a way I can clear it. Can you open up that other document on there? I know it's a PC keyboard, but there's a text document on there. Does it say, click on the one that says wheel at the bottom. It should say fill. We'll let you do the wheel. So you're gonna need to make another Evernote. Yep. Hold on, we'll wait for we get the Evernote. So when we see a B next to your name on the Word document, that means that's linked to the second Evernote. So the whole process again. Shouldn't take nearly as long. Now we know how to do it. Copy, 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 new Evernote. And if you didn't really write anything, just copy that one and go home and grade it. You don't need to go back to the URL. You can just copy and then erase what you put for Crystal. And go ahead and put Lauren at the top of your document. I mean, we're going to click on the wheel. Right, Brian? Great. All right, critical tank. Yeah. Critical tank.
Okay. Grade 6.
So put a B next to your name and just
Where is it?
highlight that, Command K, new link. If you wanted, you could even put the second rubric below crystals. On top of crystals, you could just keep the same document. I could read them both from there, right? As long as we knew that the one on top was crystals and the one on the bottom was Lawrence, or vice versa. Did you volunteer? Why do you keep saying Lauren? Is she going there? Why is everybody so focused on Lauren going? Do you have a free pass?
Yeah.
Does she? You're the team captain. Did you actually give it to her? Did she give you that yellow piece of paper? She did. Okay.
Oh, there's yellow piece up here.
Yeah.
Do we have yellow? Okay.
Did you get the yellow sheet of paper? Ooh. Did you get a yellow sheet of paper? Ooh. Nice. So you got 3 free passes. You only give it to the Korean girl.
Can I go to the bathroom?
Yes.
I already did that.
By the way, if you haven't noticed, that thing's on all the time. And if you sit back here with your computer facing that, it records everything you're looking at during class. I don't know why that would be like a secret, because that's what angles do. So if I'm sitting, just say, I don't know, at that table, looking over here, but never really looking over here, but just looking at this, and clothing, and fashion stuff. Because even with like 6 pixels, you can see like some person. You can really tell it's like something white, fashion page. Full torsoed runway. It's not you. Yeah. Extremely tall. .org. Wheel. Are you ready? All right, I think I'm ready. Got our hour. 3, 1. Super small.
Is it crystal? Yeah.
It's awesome. Who is it? Boom! Oh, what?
Not a great pass.
She's got to be fast. That she use it. She save it for a bigger day.
Yeah.
Yes! Lovely confidence. So where it goes?
It's probably gonna be like almost exactly the same.
There's crystals? Maybe.
No, because
Plus,
apparently if you do background research, you come up with the exact same
But it's
information.
only about 2%, so who cares? Going by time guy. Certain criteria. Everybody's putting POA and go at the top. POA and goes summative document. Now it says our IOC, our formative at the top. We're talking about technology. Super boring conversation. Right? That's true. So true. And if you're doing things behind me, mon ami, back of my head, it's inappropriate, it's also I can watch it over there. You ready? Burn, 3, 2, 1, commentary. And begin.
My name is Poango. My candidate number is
425671134.
And today I will be doing an oral commentary on the poem Hour, written by Carol Ann Duffy. This poem, it has 4 stanzas, with the first 3 stanzas having 4 lines and the last one having 2 lines. This poem is actually part of a collection of poems detailing the procession of love, starting with the meeting of a couple and ending with the breakup. Considering the theme of this poem, how it does seem to portray love in a positive light, we can assume that it did take place early on in the anthology. So Carol Ann Duffy has also written a previous poem called Valentine, which also does show similar ties to this poem, particularly in the subject matter, and also in how in this poem, she utilizes similes, symbolism, and allusion to describe the interactions of love and time, in order to show how time may be short for lovers, but at the same time can still hold immense meaning for them. So we start with the title of the poem, which is Hour. The poem Hour, it points out that it is related somehow to time, and considering that it is only 1 hour, it is also a very short amount of time. So in the first stanza, she says, "Love's time's beggar, but even a single hour, bright as a dropped coin, makes love rich." Now, in line 1, when she says love's time's beggar, it's alluding to how love, and also it symbolizes how love always wants more time because it never really has any. But continuing with that line, even a single hour bright as a dropped coin makes love rich, shows that even small amounts of time, when combined with love, can make a person feel rich, feel enhanced. It's comparable to something material, which would be coins. So in this case, it could be an illusion that time is to love what treasure is to a beggar. In lines 3 and 4, she says, "We find an hour together, spend it not on flowers or wine, but the whole of the summer sky and a grass ditch." Line 3 says, "We find an hour together," where it does connect to the first 2 lines, sort of similar to how lovers finding time can be compared to a beggar finding treasure. And also these lovers, they spend it not on flowers or wine, but on a rather melancholy day, lying in a meadow, staring at the sky. And this does have allusions back to previous works of Duffy, especially her poem Valentine, where she does go against the notion of providing gestures that are superficial, such as roses and flowers, but rather love should be symbolized with things of substance. For example, in that poem, she used an onion that held a lot of meaning to her. And in this case, she says that spending time can actually be more valuable than spending something that's perhaps cliche and perhaps not as meaningful, such as flowers. In the second stanza, line 5, she says, "For thousands of seconds we kiss, your hair like treasure on the ground." And when she says for thousands of seconds, it does make it seem a lot more longer than it actually is, almost as if these lovers are trying to drag on the amount of time that they can spend together, which then again goes back to the central theme of the poem of how time can be short, but at the same time, when coupled with love, makes it seem a lot longer. There is also allusion in line 6 to the myth of Midas, who could turn everything that he turned into gold. So over here, light is sort of representing Midas, turning the limbs of the speaker's person of affection, turning their limbs into gold, sort of making them seem almost ethereal in a way. And also continuing with lines 7 and 8, "Time slows, for here we are millionaires, backhanding the night." When she says time slows in line 7, again, going back to the theme of time and love, love somehow draws out time, slowing it down, which in a way sort of makes it a bit more powerful than time, as contrasted to the line 1 when love was time's beggar. But over here it's shown that it does have power over time, where it's allowed to slow time down, and these lovers are able to backhand the night. Backhanding meaning to push back, or perhaps stave off the time when they have to separate from each other. There's also an overall theme of treasures being comparing love to a treasure, where they are now millionaires because they are in love. They are not actual millionaires, but in an emotional sense, they are. In stanza 3, it reads, "So nothing dark, a shining hour, No jewel hold a candle to the cuckoo's spit, hung from the blade of grass at your ear. No chandelier or spotlight, see you better lit. And this stanza in particular sort of holds the theme of how love can also be blind, which is also Duffy's way of perhaps saying that true love will ignore things that are often, perhaps less satisfactory, because she does compare jewels to spit and grass, which is definitely not as beautiful, aesthetically speaking, as a precious stone. And also in lines 9 and 12, there is alluding to sight and clarity, making things seem brighter than they really are, sort of like in stanza 2, line 6, when it references Midas' light, making the speaker's lover appear brighter. In the last final stanza, she says then here, now, time hates love, wants love poor, but love spins gold, gold, gold from straw. And again, we see back to that sort of almost antagonistic relationship between love and time, where time hates love and doesn't want to give these lovers any more time than they already have together. But in the last line, it shows that this sort of imbalance of power, in a sense, is turned around because love has the ability to spin gold from straw. This is also another allusion to another mythological story of Rumpelstiltskin, where an elf turns something as worthless as straw into something as valuable as gold. So in the same sense applied here in this poem, love has the ability to take something as short and perhaps as meaningless as 1 hour and turn it into something incredibly valuable. So in conclusion, the overall poem, Duffy utilizes simile, symbolism, and allusions in her poem Hour, describing the relationship between love and time, comparing time as being treasure to love, showing how time can be short, but at the same time still holds meaning, considering if it is true.
Okay, cool.
It's even shorter.
It's extremely short. Let's go back to that personification bit.
Duffy.
Sure. Okay, go ahead. Thank
Duffy utilizes simile, symbolism, and illusion. Sure, I forgot about that.
You did say personification, right?
I did mention it.
At no point in time. Not in the thesis.
Not the thesis, but I did say it after.
Okay, because otherwise my notes are off. All right. In order to what?
In order to describe the relationship between love and time, in order to show how time is short for lovers, but at the same time can still hold meaning.
Time is short for lovers, but can still hold meaning. Okay. With that personification, why so much personification of these two contrary elements, your time and your love, and especially the dark and the aspects which are allegedly juxtaposed against this romance and love? How does that work with other elements of the poem? Because it does treat this element as if it were an entity. What does that do for the poem?
I think for one, it could be perhaps making it a bit more appealing to read, but at the same time, it makes it a bit more relatable. Because if Duffy were to speak about love and time as just concepts and not as something that's living that we would relate to as readers, it probably wouldn't have the same effect of this sort of like relationship that's almost antagonistic between love and time.
Okay. And what else would support that in there in terms of there's some antagonism with this persona?
For example, the first time where love is time's beggar,
Mm-hmm.
and also line 8 where these two lovers are backhanding night, they're backhanding time, they're going against it. Their love is essentially almost fighting back against their inevitable separation.
Do you see anything particular in that word choice with the backhanding? She could use lots of other, you used some other paraphrasing. You said Pushing back.
Pushing
But why backhanding?
Backhanding technically it's a technical term for when you were to violently assault someone from the back, as in using the back of your fist to hit them, which again it adds to that sort of antagonistic thing because they're swiping it away, they're essentially punching it,
Okay.
which is again antagonistic almost.
And with the jewel business in that metaphor, what is this stuff about the candle to the cuckoo spit hung from the blade of the grass of your ear?
Essentially means that something as mundane as just having a blade of grass, noticing something next to the speaker's lover is comparable to something as beautiful as a precious stone. In fact, it's even better than that. Again, it ties in with Duffy's inclination to say that things of substance are a lot more meaningful to her than just things that other people might call valuable.
And is that repetitive, or can that correlate or correspond with any other such coupling in the poem?
It probably could. For example, in the first stanza, when an hour is the equivalent to a coin. So essentially, time is to love what treasure is to a beggar.
And what's up with the punctuation in this? For example, what would you say about loves times beggar?
Loves times beggar.
Which isn't grammatically incorrect.
Not.
It just might seem a bit odd, especially that
It's hard to read.
it is hard to read. So what effect is she potentially getting out of this?
And she said loves times beggar. Love is times beggar.
And why not love is times beggar versus loves times beggar?
It could have something to do with the rhyme, or maybe it just adds in a more powerful entry to the poem when you're reading something as short and as direct as loves times beggar. It's very straightforward because almost as if she's stating a fact that love is sort of like a slave to time.
Anything else? You're fine. Cool. Anybody else have a question for her? Because they'd ask you, anybody have anything that might, even if it's something you don't think she can answer, I'm okay with that. We're not going to.
Oh, Shakespeare's sonnet.
Yeah, well, that one's there. The sonnet, the suggested sonnet. Good. You hand up there?
Oh, question. So why the love time beggar?
Y'all did the research. I know some of you scoured every single webpage on planet Earth to find this stuff out. Did anybody find anything about that? I haven't looked at anything this poem in my entire life, honestly. Did you find something? Did you find some external? All right, let's answer that. But don't say anything. Who can answer that? And here's the thing with this poetry stuff. We pick her because she's alive and we like her and all these other things. She could come out and say what it is. And that's fine. And she probably doesn't. But the point with the figurative anything, especially with poetry, if it's present as a theme, or you know this author and you get what it's doing, can you justify something? And that will get you points. It could, I mean, sometimes you hear stuff say, you know, you could deal with the poem 100 times over the course of teaching and be like, yep. And you're like, whoa, I never thought about that. Sure, yeah, I can't say that's wrong. I guess that works. Cool. Who can do that? Why loves times beggar versus love is times beggar? Why it's really contraction. You're getting rid of the is and just saying loves. What does it do when you say it? Because don't forget, poetry's it's a verbal literature, just like drama. It's supposed to be read out loud.
Sort of makes you stumble over the words.
Even if it was a non-contraction, how would you read it? Love is times beggar. You might read it, it might still flow into loves times beggar. What does it do when things are written in a phonetical sense? If it was some sort of the way we speak, what does it do? It could be colloquial, could add rhythm. She might want it to have one less syllable.
Short incident. It's they don't have enough time together. So
If you were to say
always-
anything like that, no one could tell you you're wrong.
she's always trying to like make words shorter.
It's the same thing. She's trying to get to the point, or she's trying to have the poem emulate the whole, we don't have a whole lot of time. You can't mess around with an extra vowel. That sounds like Duffy to me. Kind of funny, kind of cheeky, not taking herself too serious. Cool. Could you find another example as you go through this poem to support Maggie's idea there about getting to the point and leaving stuff out, even though it might not be right?
No.
Now, yeah. I mean, if you're in the context and she creates this context and you're looking at somebody else, now. You don't need to be like, I mean, if you're that guy and you're like, now what? She's like, oh my God, you ruined the moment. But you kind of know what now means, whatever that means between these two people who are very much engaged. Cool. Also, maybe the once love poor, but love spins gold, time hates love, once. You have that weird subject hates love, once love poor. It works, but if you read it differently, it's like what you kind of want it there. You want that pronoun or maybe a semicolon. So she's leaving it out. It's okay. You can do that. Probably still grammatically correct, but it does make it a little bit awkward, and it supports your. I'm not going to bother with the pronoun here. I'm just going to go straight and go with the second verb. And might Duffy be like, no, that's rubbish. I never was thinking that at all. That's fine, because it is completely supported by it. No one's going to argue the big idea. Keep that to yourself. We don't even want to hear it. Was it something like that? Probably not. Okay. Anybody else have something to add to this poem that we might not have spoken about? Did anybody think that was an earring with the no jewel hold a candle? Where is the spit? So yeah, I mean, it literally means like maybe jewelry, you know? It's like, oh, you look great with those earrings on, but you just look great with, you know, what is that, bird poop? I don't even know what that is.
It's like bug spit.
Yeah. It's just something that's stuck on your face and you're rolling around on the ground, you know? It's like, oh, you look great with bird crap on you.
Like, you know the Midas?
Midas.
And Rumpelstiltskin, like, I found it weird because you said it was like, because they both have like bad endings. Like, the king
Yeah.
touches himself and turns himself into gold. And Rumpelstiltskin, like, obviously.
That's what I'm thinking. I was
That's why
hoping
it's like-
somebody would get the Duffy's like,
It's like kind of like tainted, like at the very end of it. Like, why did she only use those two that have a bad ending?
and you could fix it. I mean, there's tons of stuff out there which has, you know, it might not be as literary, but it's the Rumpelstiltskin. Come on. There's a million references to gold. As you know, as knowledgeable and versed as she is, she didn't have to pick ones that we knew. I mean, Midas is pretty plebeian in the sense of people knowing that. If we read Carter, it's like, I don't know what any of that means in terms of illusion. She's picked some grade 5 illusions here. So she could have picked something which didn't have a negative ending. Those people were fooled into believing that things are going to be really good, and not one of you mentioned that. That doesn't really work with this poem. And none of you justified the whole time thing. Why is time a problem with love? Because if you both die at age 96, still in love, that's fairly successful. So it's not like a, you know, life ending or some sort of, why? Why is your romance doomed to not work? Why is time an issue with that? So maybe we missed the thing here, and I think we did. What do you call this love now, if that's the case?
It's like, yeah, love that's like eventually gonna end. Like you said, like inevitable night, like foreshadowing to like this whole time is like their last hour spent together. That's what I got out of it. Like,
Have you ever heard that term summer love?
yeah.
I don't know if Duffy's getting to that, but that's a term for like, oh gosh, it's great, you know, because everybody looks good on the beach in their crappy airbrush t-shirt. It says Koi Samui 2014. Like, yeah, and then when you get back to school, it's like, oh, he was kind of dumb. Right? Why is this love destined to not work?
I mean, like the collection which it's that the poem is in itself ends with a breakup. Like they separate at the end. So.
If you or like Chris, somebody like, well, this is different from our other poems. It is. Would you be surprised if you're like, oh, Duffy poem, Duffy poem, Duffy poem, and then she has a bunch of romantic poetry? Would you be like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. You should not take that for face value as romantic poetry. Doesn't mean the themes of romance and these other aspects, which are, universal, aren't present. But it won't be a conventional take on it. Just like Valentine is not. It's completely about loving somebody in a wonderful way, but it's not a conventional take on that, a very universal concept. So pessimistic as hell. Don't ask your parents this because they'll lie. Ask your uncle who's angry and dirty and divorced this question. Do you believe in true love?
Okay.
And Duffy might have an answer for that. Your parents have to say, yes, of course. And I saw your father. It was love and truth. Shut up, Harold. I'm talking to our daughter. Your uncle might have a different answer about your aunts. Don't mention her name ever again. Okay. Okay, finish that up. Make sure both the girls have grades.
Attention high school, pardon for interrupting your class, but will Tommy Gun Ho Park come to Mr. O'Hara's office immediately? Teachers, please tell Tommy Gun Ho Park to leave immediately,
Tommy.
as there's only 7 minutes of class left.
Boom, Tommy, I got you!
Sit down.
Tommy! Oh, so good. So cute. I even went to YouTube and I got that announcement chime thing and I shoved it in there. Good, that's amazing, wasn't it? Yeah, he was a good sport about it. And he's like, who's this Tommy Gun Ho Park guy? We'll find out soon. Good sport, Tom.
That was a good one.
It's better than this one. This one's horrible. You stood up. That was awesome. You know he's the discipline guy, right? Okay. Let's see. This is in the 7 minutes. 7 minutes. Here we go. This one's horrible. Roger's like, is that saying Roger White? It's saying Roger White.
Oh.
It is horrible, but sorry, it's too much fun. All right, woo! Stuff to do today. You need to go home and watch that video. Click on that link and see if there's an issue. If there's an issue, you and I can talk. Otherwise, it opens up. It's 27 minutes long. But man, if you read the book, and I know you did, you'd be like, oh, that's just like the book. Oh, it's just like the book. It's just like the book. There is a question that has come out on the final exam, paper 2, which says, more or less, and I'll paraphrase, how has the narrative, or what elements of the author's history has he or she included in the narrative? something like that. So it is that sort of, okay, we know this is, in our case, fiction, but there are certainly elements in there which we could suggest are semi-autobiographical in nature. In terms of the themes, she'll talk about it. She won't talk about the book, but it's like, when I grew up, this was an issue. When I was a child, this was an issue. And these things do match up with conflicts and themes and plot structures in 1.0. It's definitely on the objectives. It's definitely on the homework page as well. It's not on links, I'll put it on there.
You'll put it on it?
I'll put it on there right now. It's not on white.org.
Is it on YouTube?
Yes. That's why I say click on that and see if it's an issue. For most of you, it's not an issue. If your VPN is working and want to see Carl fall off the red bench from class yesterday, you can watch that. Pretty fantastic. But don't click on it on the Facebook. Open it up in the actual link, and it goes straight to the minute where he falls off the bench. We can probably watch that real quick. What kind of score did you give Crystal? I'll be curious to find out. What'd you give her for language? How many points for language? Look at your criteria. 5. Ready? Hands. Go 1, 2, and on 3, you do this, probably not that, or this, or this, or this, or this. What? Don't give her 1. That's not funny. You think it's funny because you got a 1? Ready? Look at what you gave Crystal. You go 1, 2, number with fingers. Ready? Hands up. Find your stuff. We'll wait. Who's down to 1%? We got a couple minutes left. Ready? 3. Oh, okay. I said 1, 2, 3 to that. 1, 2, 3. What'd you give yourself? Wendy? 4? Some friend you are. All right. Yeah. Probably a 3. Who gave Paulina a 4? Why? How is it different from Crystal's?
I think,
Because she said ethereal. Did you write that word down? Did you hear her say ethereal? No? She said it. Not a big deal, but it was nice. All right. Why?
I think Crystal's commentary was a little bit more informal, which made it harder to follow the commentary. While Friends, it was more formal, which.
Okay. Let's think about that. How much of that did you read? Word for word. How much of your commentary did you read? Which is it was fairly well done considering. And how much of yours did you read? What? Basically everything. So that's the problem. It's like you can write as much as you can in 20 minutes, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the best thing for you. Your level of confidence with the subject, which is that criterion A, and your availability or your fluidity to actually go through any commentary, that's the whole difficult nature of that. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You have paper, leave that with me, and I'll make sure you get some phone straight for that. Everybody get some phone straight for
I
that.
thought it was bullet point. Oh, yeah. Oh, well. Oh, well.
send me that form, next, I'll look forward to it Friday. See, I'm just, am I right? Otherwise, I just like scratch that with me.
I'm not ready for you, am I, Wendy?
I want to sit here. Where can I sit? I'll be texting. I don't know. I think I'm gonna say it's change things up.
See you. Nobody wants to sing it with me. Bunch of haters.